A quick message on Veterans Day. 16 years ago, I was on a military base at this banquet, and this blowhard politician was up there talking, and it was like everybody just couldn't wait for him to shut up. But he was honoring the troops for what that was worth coming out of his mouth. And he started with the war in Afghanistan. And so every time he would mention a conflict, people would stand up and be applauded. So obviously there was a lot of people from the war in Afghanistan in the room. And then Desert Storm, which my brother served in the Navy, and a lot less people. And then, Cold War was like decades. So then, Vietnam. And, there was a bunch of Vietnam vets in the room. My father served in Vietnam. And then it was Korea, and it was a lot less. By the time he got to World War II, it was only a handful of people. And I'm trying to do the quick math in my head. I'm like, it can't be anybody from World War I old enough to still be alive to be in this room. And he said, is there any chance that there's a surviving veteran of the Great War? And this one man who was sitting right in the middle of this room with maybe like 400 people stood up, and everybody, of course, clapped. And this is trench warfare, man. This is a nightmare that he went through. But unlike everybody else, he had something to say. And so when we all finished clapping, he didn't sit back down. He stood there with probably the strength he had because he was so frail. And he said in a voice that I really don't think he had any business carrying because it was so loud. He said, I went through hell, and for you beautiful people, I would do it all again. I don't think I've ever lived a life worthy of that sacrifice. I don't know if many of us have. So in a day and time when there's a lot of conflicting messages about wars and military and all these things and soldiers, and I get it, man. There's a lot of feelings and things attached to all of it. But we need to remember to honor those who showed us so much honor, because they're certainly worth it, even if we're not.